My name is John Yun. I'm a faculty member at the University of California, Santa Barbara at the Gewurz Graduate School of Education. I'm also the director of the University of California Educational Evaluation Center, a new center that just started this year, where I taught physics actually I taught physical science, chemistry, astronomy, and occasionally physics for 4 years. And the experience kind of changed my trajectory. I had students who were just as smart as the kids I grew up with, who weren't scoring above 900 on the SATs. They were getting hundreds on college-level chemistry text exams, and somehow they weren't able to do the things that were necessary for them to get into college. By that same token, I was a traveling teacher, so I was a traveling science teacher. I didn't have a classroom, so I had my lab on a cart. And I started asking myself why the students in this school were receiving the services that they were receiving when 2 miles away at Alamo Heights. They had brand new schools, they had labs for everyone, and class sizes that were, a third of mine. So that kind of drove me to think about, where do you want to make an impact, and do you want to continue with physics, where, the stuff is interesting and useful, but maybe 200 people in the world care about any of it. Whereas in education, you could have a larger impact on kind of the people that were in front of you every day. So that's how I kind of went into the education policy area. My background in training is definitely more quantitative, and that was done intentionally because to have an influence in the policy realm on a large scale, numbers are what people tend to really value. But I think when it comes down to actually making the data useful to both the people who need to use it and who care about it, to make it accessible, you have to incorporate the real context of what's going on. And the context can really only be conveyed through really good qualitative work. So one of the directions that we're moving in is towards more evaluation studies, which is why we kind of went towards the center. And the beautiful thing about evaluation studies is you can incorporate multiple methods to do what you need to do to make them much more useful to the audience that you're moving towards and trying to affect. By creating the UC Educational Evaluation Center, we actually have a system already in place with partners already ready to do the work to highlight some of the educational issues that are going on in California and nationally. And the real key is this group, because they're a group of scholars and not necessarily a collection of evaluators, has not just, as its core mission, not just hitting the targets of the RFP or the call for the evaluation, but also in really highlighting some of the fundamental theories and inner workings of the programs that are currently being evaluated. So too often, evaluation studies kind of come out and say, yes, this worked, or yes, this didn't work, but not enough has really gone into what aspects of it worked, why did it work, and how does that link to particular fundamental understandings about how students learn and how organizations function. And that's what we see the UCEC doing, because we have this kind of scholarly focus as well as all of the methodological skills necessary to meet these particular goals. We feel we have a really good chance at doing it. And one of the key things about it is that we hope to be able to bridge this gap between practice, research, and policy, because in some ways programs is where these things all come together. And evaluation of those programs is really the information that is supposed to feed back into the system. What we intend to do is to write our evaluations in a way that they can meet multiple audiences. Policy is only good insofar as it serves the needs of the organizations and the individuals who are actually trying to affect the context of students in schools as they try to serve students' needs.